Welcome to Behind and Beyond the Bars. I'm Jeff Shafer. Nick Robbins. I met Nick probably 7-8 years ago. I thought I knew him, but in this podcast, I got to know him even more. I never realized that this man in front of me was once 135 pounds, struggled with anxiety, because that's the least of what you think of him today. In fact, in his reentry ministry, returning home, he's been transforming lives of men for years now. But just recently, roughly about a year ago, he took over a jail with 30 beds. And he's been challenging the norm and doing things differently, really preparing these men to make as many decisions as they can while behind bars so that when they're released, they'll know how to make these decisions. He is truly challenging the norm, and he's doing it for the hearts of these men and for the success of them staying out. I know you will love hearing his story. Enjoy. Well, Nick, this is it's awesome to get across the table from you with mics, and we had a wonderful conversation last night. So let's see if we can recapture a little bit of that today. Let's jump right in. The last 12 months or so, you've been doing something new. So explain to us what that is.
My organization, Returning Home, is in Northwest Arkansas. And so we've had relationships with the sheriff's office and the county for different things, different projects we were doing. And I just kind of threw out the idea that I think I could run a jail pretty well. And so...
When you said that, were your motives pure?
I think it was to prove a point.
Okay, got it.
It's like, hey, we could be doing better.
Okay.
And, you know, what's interesting is everybody that I've worked with, like in the space of corrections over the years, I've been doing this for 19 years. And so most of my experience is actually in the Department of Corrections. So most of the people are like really good people, but at the same time, everybody that's in leadership's been in that field working for that government for 30 plus years. And to think that that's when they were trained. And so you kind of just hold fast to the things that you were trained. And when you're in the nonprofit space, you look at problems differently because you have to look at more affordable solutions. You have to be outcome driven. Like think about all the grants we apply for. They're saying, I'm going to give you X amount of dollars if you accomplish this goal. Well, that's not how government works.
Right.
It's like, we're just going to give you X amount of dollars. And if it doesn't work out, we're going to give you a bigger budget next year. And if it doesn't work out, we're going to give you a bigger budget next year. Yeah. So we just have a different outcome driven approach. Kind of as we were coming up with the idea is like, okay, how do we get a jail up and running? But then like, how do we build it? Like what's the approach? And really, as I kind of sat down and processed through it, I go, okay, we're going to be outcome driven. That's what we do with all our programs in the reentry space, alternative sentencing, all the things that we do. We say, okay, what outcome does our stakeholder want? And in this case, it's the county. So what does Washington County want to accomplish with this person? Well, they want to create a safer community. So that means they want this individual to stop committing crimes. And it's as deep as that. I'm going, okay. So for that individual to be a good community member, what would I need to provide him to be able to motivate that change, create hope, and then equip them to actually live that out? When, we kind of jump through some hoops and some different discussions because corrections is built off worst case scenario. So all their standard operating procedures are built on worst case scenario. The way the facility is built is on worst case scenario. It's like, how do we keep them in? Like everything's based on if everything goes to crap, like how can we respond in the best way? And so I just took the approach of how do we set this up for best case scenario? And so as small as, and I didn't think anything of it at the time. I know I've been in correction spaces, so I do understand everything's bolted to the ground. It's stainless steel, but I'm like, nah, it's not really how I roll. And so we were like ordering stuff. So basically we got approved to run a 30 bed facility. It's probably about 10, 15 minutes from the jail. And we were going to recruit nonviolent, non-sexual offenders in a pretrial setting. So they're going to be housed with us. So they're still incarcerated in a partnership with the county and the sheriff's office. So the sheriff provides 2 detention officers that sit in an office and look at the cameras. And then my staff just run everything from the food to the laundry to cleaning to the case management. We've got a mental health provider that we work with. So we have 2 mental health clinicians, just start buying chairs and some couches and 85-inch TV and these large wood tables. And when the sheriff's office staff came, there was a panic of like, nothing's bolted to the ground. They're going to start killing people like the second they walk in the door. And I just had to take this approach of like, hey, you need to trust me. Like, I'm going to make sure your staff are safe.
And did you believe that they would be safe?
Oh, absolutely.
And why?
Because this is what we do. This is the population we serve.
Okay.
And
but it's the same population they serve too.
Right.
All right, keep going.
So, because I actually had to take them to my facility in the community. So, for about 6 years now, we've ran an alternative sentencing program. So these are individuals that were going to be sentenced to prison.
Okay.
Instead of that, Washington, Madison County individuals get sentenced to us.
Okay.
We see ourselves as disruptors in the industry. Not that we don't want to disrespect the people that are in the industry. Sure. We really coming alongside them. Sure. And we're just trying to accomplish their goals in a unique way.
Unique, innovative, thinks outside the box.
Yeah. And so we've been running that program for 6 years and haven't had a single fight. And you go to county jail, you wouldn't go a day without a fight. And you wouldn't go more than 3 months without an officer being assaulted.
So to be clear, that last 6 years, you're dealing with people who have a conviction.
Yeah.
So it's not as sanitized, if that's the right word to say, to the jail.
Yeah.
So you've made it work.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're in the community. And what's funny is like, so I was like walking the sheriff's office, some of the staff through this building. Well, they know everybody. They came from their county jail.
Right.
They remember the time that guy jumped their buddy that works with him, or they remember their dad, or they remember their son's currently in. And so like they know their families, they know their history. This population, we call them lifestyle crimes, the people that we serve, predominantly homeless, about 80%.
Okay.
And so those are the frequent flyers. Those are the ones that see the most.
So they know them.
Oh, they know them. And so as we're walking them through, and I'm like, do you feel safe here? And they're like, well, yeah, because they're out. I go, but you understand when they're out is when they commit the crimes. And like they were trying to come up with reasons of why they felt safe. And I go, well, we just asked them to not do those things. And so they didn't. And they're like, this doesn't make any sense. So I don't think we got really far with that tour.
Right.
And then so we started to run the jail, and it's a facility that we work with. They don't do a lot of direct supervision. So in a prison setting, you'll have an officer and like they'll be in the living area. So like, they're directly interacting on a regular basis, but most jails, there's a security bubble and the officers are sitting in the jail and the detainees are just locked in this barrack, and they just hope for the best. And then if they do something dumb, then they rush in there with lots of officers. But in this setting, and to mind you, a lot of my staff are females, we're just in there with them and just kind of like hanging out, and they're coming into our offices. They're asking questions. We're hugging on them. We're doing things we probably shouldn't be doing, and we're building relationships. And so everything we've done it with the way of like, I want to honor them. Like even for the mattresses in a typical county jail are a couple inches at best. And in my county jail, they're like 10 inches. And so like they're having to jump into bed because the mattress is so thick.
and what are some of the feedback you hear when they see the size of the mattress?
Just mind blown. Most of them are just coming for the mattress and the food. and so they have like blankets and really expensive pillows. And so I got my budget approved, and I purchased the things I said I was going to purchase. And then people start walking through and go, why is that so nice and expensive? I go, well, your mattress is going to last a couple months. Mine will probably last 10 years. And because I run transitional housing, I understand that. Like I'm going to buy the quality.
Right.
Because I don't want to constantly fixing junk. And so I just have an approach of like a long-term investment. And so it was like, okay, that's different. And then we give the guys clothes to wear. So they're wearing jeans, and they've got t-shirts and shorts and slides and tennis shoes and polos and sweatshirts. and they show up in stripes, like old school, striped jumpsuit situation. And I'm like, all right, take that off, put the guy's name on it, put it in the office with the officers. Let's give them some clothes to wear.
What's their response when you're telling them that?
They don't feel like they're in jail anymore.
Yeah.
They feel like they're in a program, a treatment setting. And I mean, that's what we are. We're residential substance abuse treatment, but in a jail setting. And then they're a part of the leadership structure. So they have a leadership team that they've voted to be representing them to the staff. If they have any complaints or changes, one of our residents doesn't come to staff if they have a complaint. They have to go to their voted leadership guys. And if those guys can't address it and feel like they can get something accomplished, then they come to the staff and we kind of work through it. And so there's a structure of that we respect them. Like, hey, you guys are bringing something. This is your life. This is your program. We're just working here. Like we just are honored to be alongside you in that process. And so keep in mind, these are the same guys that are in the regular county jail. This is a structure. All the guys' rooms, none of their doors lock. They can shut their door if they want, and they open door if they want. It's just set up differently, and we've been doing it for 12 months. Not a single act of violence over 12 months. Like I don't even allow them to curse in my jail because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to teach them how to be the person they need to be when they get out.
Right.
And so like we have an orange line. So like it's one really big room with their bedrooms all on the outside, along the walls. So half of it's just kind of a little hangout area where they can wear their shorts and their slides and t-shirts and stuff. But when they cross the orange line is where they come into the classroom setting, or they can go meet with their mental health clinician or their caseworker, or go to the computer lab or wherever. That's the opportunity line. So they have to be dressed for the opportunity they're given. And so it's showing them that, hey, you've got to be wearing your polo or your sweatshirt or both. When you walk into the space, you can't have slides on, you got to have shoes on. Because again, this is a homeless population that doesn't understand the basics of, how to present yourself for the opportunity that somebody wants to give you. What we have presented to them is you're not where you are from the lack of opportunity. You're where you are because you weren't prepared for the opportunity that has been given. Because when I ask, hey, has any of you ever had a home to live in? Well, yeah. Well, then why were you homeless? Well, because it was bigger than giving me a roof over my head. Like I needed to learn what it took to be able to make the most of that opportunity that was given.
But stop there for a second.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure the average person recognizes that.
Yeah.
I'll give a little example. In my world, I've got a son who's graduated from college and whatnot now, but I remember when he was going to, in fact, he came to Wheaton, and I was showing him how to hang up a pair of dress pants.
Yeah.
And how to fold them. And so I showed him, and then, this is how you put it on the hanger. This way it gets a crease. And then I handed it to him, and I just showed him. And he was like, I don't mean this. It was like, are you drunk? I just did this in front of you. And I was an impatient dad, and my wife's like, he needs to see it again. He's never seen it before. So anyways, I showed him again and whatever. And then he got it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, all I had to do, like I had no concept that's obviously just one little example. Yeah. And it took 2 or 3 showings. Yeah. And then he got it. I would have assumed he would have known how to do that.
Right. So Jeff,
and would you replicate that 1,000 times over?
Would you assume that people getting out of incarceration know how to live a successful life? So if I've never experienced it, don't expect it of me. There's some people in our community that believe release from incarceration is the ultimate goal.
Right.
Release leads to happiness. So that's the arrival fallacy. That all I need is a goal. And I just need to achieve the goal. Somebody needs to give me the goal, but it's not, I have to do the work to be able to make the most of the opportunity. Because freedom can't be the issue, because you were free before you went in. Mm-hmm. And then you went in and lost your freedom as a result of the issue. Mm-hmm. So it can't be the issue. So we got to figure out the issue. And so it's foundational beliefs. When you talk to somebody and you're going, okay, so when was the first time you used drugs? Oh, my mom gave me drugs when I was 13 or 14. Okay. Your mom's still in your life? Oh yeah, it's my best friend. Hey, when you get here, where are you going? Going to mom's.
Mm.
Do you want to stay sober? Absolutely. Do you think you can do that in a relationship? What do you mean? That's the person that loves me. And to know in a poverty mindset, relationships are assets. So I don't have a car. I don't have a house. But if I'm friends with this guy, I know I can get a ride if I really need it. And if I am in a relationship with this girl, I know I'll have a bed to sleep in. Now, should I really be in this guy's car because I know what's going to be in his car? And if we get pulled over, we're in trouble. Should I be in this relationship because I know she's in active addiction and every time I live there, it always ends up me being arrested because of some fight we had. But if that's all you have, if that's the only semblance of transportation and housing you have, you're never going to change that foundational belief of I've got to start setting boundaries in those types of lives. So you need opportunity. And then you also need to know how to make the most of the opportunity when it's given. So we provide housing. A guy gets out, they get sentenced to us instead of going to prison, and they go and so just immediately they got a roof over their head and they've got clothes on their back and they got food in their belly. And so all the basic needs are met, transportation, we take care of all that. But if those relationships are lingering and that poverty mindset's still very, very prevalent, you're about to make some decisions that are going to lose the things that you say you need to be successful. And so we create a community and really we let the community in to the facility. And that's what's, I would say, probably one of the most unique things that we do is we have volunteers coming in multiple times a day, every single day. And they represent and we're not like a silo organization. We have so many partners. I have more partners that have transitional housing for our men coming in than we have. And we're not in competition. I always tell them was like, our beds are always in demand. Yeah, so are ours. Yeah, so are ours. Like, no one's worried about where this person's going. We're just worried that they're going somewhere. And then we have employers that come in and talk to them about jobs and do mock interview and all the things. And we have people from the University of Arkansas that come in and teach healthy living and cooking classes and do yoga with them. And, like we have the community come in because that's the missing piece. Because I can teach you in an incarcerated setting. It's so easy to create institutionalized success. Like this guy, man, he's so amazing. Well, you tell him when to get up and you put food in his belly and then you tell him to sit down in class and then he sits down in class, you tell him to pay attention so he can recite the verse that you taught him. And like, he hasn't made a decision in a year. So yeah, he's great in that setting. And that is the ultimate goal of corrections. So the ultimate goal of corrections is to create a good inmate, somebody that does what they're told, that never questions anything, just moves to the next thing. When you say, hey, I need you to be over here. Okay, I'll be over there. Hey, I need you up at this time. Okay, I'll be up at this time.
So how do you reframe that?
You have to make decisions.
In your world.
Every day they have to decide where they're going to go and what they're going to do. We have some core classes, but most of them are voluntary, but you have to attend a certain amount of classes to be able to level up and stay in the program. So it's your decision.
The irony is you're giving them freedom inside those facilities.
I'm going to give you all the clothes, but I need you to wear a certain one at a certain time, but you're going to make that decision. Like I need them to have as much decisions as I possibly can give them on their plate. I need them to be leaders. I need them to lead people. Like I need them to experience as much as they possibly can in an incarcerated setting. And the neat thing is when these individuals are getting out and coming to my alternative sentencing program, most of the people we get are just from the regular jail.
Okay.
Because again, we only have 30 beds in ours compared to the 700, 800 beds in the other one. But they are light years ahead when they walk into that program. They've been meeting with a mental health clinician every single week. They've been there. They're doing group sessions, individual sessions. They did trauma healing. They did fatherhood classes. Because they start class at 7 a.m. and it gets done at 8 o'clock at night. And that's 5 days a week. And every other hour is an off time because our population doesn't focus for too long. And so they're always going, okay, now I got a break. And that break could be doing their journaling or things they have to turn in. But that's created somebody that's hungry to grow and that's used to being challenged. Because if they do something wrong, then we put them on a behavior report, and the behavior report corrects the behavior instead of punishes the behavior. So like if you're incarcerated and you do something wrong, isolation is typically the response.
Right.
I'm going to put you in a box so that you don't negatively influence the rest of the population. For us, like, for example, let's say I have very high expectations and lots of rules. So one of them is you don't leave anything on your bed. So your bed is made, you have to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning in my jail, and you cannot go back to sleep. Your bed has to be made at 5 o'clock in the morning. It has to remain made until 9 o'clock at night. And you can't have anything sitting on your bed. So I have totes for them to put their stuff away, organized. So if you have junk left on your bed, you'll get written up. And as a way to address that, we're like, hey, come on. Do you know what the rule is for this? And we'll bring out the rule book, and they all have their own rule book, and sit down and go, hey, this is why we do this. And a big piece of it is, one, I want you to know how to take care of your own home when you get out. And two, the people that we're bringing in on tours, they're looking at, because we have tours nearly every single day. And we got people from all over the state coming to see what we're doing. I go, I want you to represent yourself the way I see you. You're very well put together. You're getting ready to get released and have amazing opportunities, and it's because how you present yourself. And so as a consequence, for the next 7 days at whatever time let's say 9 o'clock in the morning, I want you to go check everybody's bed. And if anybody's got anything on their bed, I want you to go find them, pull them to the side and say, hey man, this is why we do this. Could you get your stuff put away? I'll show you, if you need me to, for 7 days. And at the end of the 7 days, we'll pull them back in. Be like, so what's your thoughts? Staff shouldn't have to be doing that every day. That's our responsibility. That's our space. I know my 7 days is up, but I'm going to make sure everybody's beds are good. And then the guy's response to that was, hey, thanks for pointing that out, because I would have gotten in trouble. Yeah, man, we're brothers. I got you. And so the guys, they take care of each other. They mean something to each other. They do their own Bible studies. There are so many tears in that jail. Makes me uncomfortable most of the time. But they're doing it together. And again, that's not a normal incarcerated setting. It's you keep your head down, you mind your business, and you don't care what this guy's doing. And in our setting is you care about what everyone's doing because you care about everybody.
That's amazing. It reminds me, there's a prison ministry group out of Texas or Tennessee, Men of Valor. And I was listening to, I was at one of their events, and one of the guys who is on staff there was telling his story. And, there's so many amazing stories of transformation and failure, transform failure. And then eventually there's like, okay, wait, we got it. But anyways, this guy, and it reminds me of what you're doing, because I think it was a girlfriend, it eventually became the wife. She came to visit him one day and said, when are you going to start living like you want to get out of here? I.e., when are you going to start living like you need to be living? Because you can't just turn it on.
No.
And it was that question that was the last time that finally got him to go, oh my gosh, I actually got to make changes right now.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting about what you're saying is that, yes, in a normal correctional setting, you still can make changes, but you're going to make changes that fit within the context of that correctional system, where you're going, let me actually create even more opportunities to make it look like you're on the outside. Yeah. Not because I'm trying to make it soft on you. No, it's the opposite way. I'm actually trying to teach you, in my son's analogy, I'm going to show you exactly how to hang up that, that pair of pants on a real hanger. Yeah. Because we don't have hangers in here, whatever.
Yeah. Well, so when we originally got started, most people in the correctional space, they were going, oh, well, everybody's going to want to go to your program because you treat them so well. I go, my expectations compared to the jail is sleep whenever you want. And then when you decide to wake up, play cards and then go back to sleep. Go, do you understand? 5 o'clock in the morning? You can't go to sleep till 9 o'clock. People are challenging you every single day. They're calling you out on your poor behavior. Like, it's not easy doing what we're doing. And we have people leave. They're like, this is not how I want to do my time. Oh, if you're only here to do time, yeah, you're right. This isn't it for you. And then we just transfer them back. Get the sheriff's office, come pick them up. And, we always, we try to end well with everybody. Cause somebody with that mindset, they'll be back and they'll probably try to come back to the program whenever they feel like they're ready.
Yep.
And so we'll just say like, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of your life. If you ever need us, we're here.
This podcast is brought to you by CMCA, where our mission is to connect, equip, encourage, and strengthen Christians as they fulfill the Great Commission in corrections. You can find more training and resources at cmcainternational.com. Have you always had a heart for people and for men behind bars like this?
No, I'm not a people person at all. Even to this day.
You're not a people person?
No, I'm so antisocial. I'm good on one-on-one settings, but like with lots of people, I'm like, that's too much. So no, and I grew up always just thinking about myself because of my anxieties. I spend more time thinking of myself and what I think other people are thinking about me. And I think a lot of that had to do with, I grew up with struggling with reading and writing. I do to this day. And just extreme anxiety. And I'd moved 17 times by the time I was 17 years old. And so every time you go to a new school, it's like, that's that. Who is that weird kid? And just
military family?
No, my dad just moved for work as he was getting promoted. And sometimes the moving was within the same town. So like my dad and my brother, we'd go and we'd get an apartment, and mom and my other two siblings trying to sell the house in whatever state we were living in. Then when they'd come, we'd rent a house, and then we'd buy like, and back then when there was really no movement, what I mean? Like there wasn't really a way to get around. Parents weren't driving you anywhere.
Right.
Well, you get moved to the other side of town. Now you're like, oh, I guess I got to make new friends because the other guy's way over there now. But so I always struggled, and I was really small. And so I got picked on a lot, but I was really stubborn. So I got in trouble a lot. So yeah, I'm not a natural people person, but I understand the value in it because of people coming alongside me when I was not a good investment, when it didn't make sense to speak into my life. They gave me hope, and that led me to see the value in investing in people and not thinking about yourself, because everyone's thinking about themselves.
How did you get to the point of surrender, or whatever the right word is?
I went to prison in Iowa when I was 17 years old. And 17,
that's young.
Yeah, I was 135 pounds. I couldn't grow facial hair for about a good 6 years. Robbinses don't grow to a man until they're in their 20s. That's kind of the joke. And so I look like I was 12. It's not a good place to be when you look like that and you're that age and you're tiny, and I didn't have any muscles on me. So I went in fighting. I grew up wrestling in Iowa. That was a big deal. And so I was ready to put in the work. And ultimately it led me to deal with a lot of isolation because of my behaviors. I got kicked out of the first prison I was in. The second one I was in.
You got kicked out of a prison?
Yeah. That one didn't last long. So then they sent me to a higher security facility, and I was in solitary 60 days at a time for the first year.
Holy cow.
And my goal was to build a reputation for myself so that I could feel safe.
Because you needed to.
Yeah. Oh, I was tiny.
So did you actually feel better in isolation?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's easy time.
Really?
You're just by yourself. You don't have to deal with knuckleheads. When things got real difficult, when overcrowding hit and they started putting a second person in there, that was a problem.
Oh, interesting.
I got in lots of fights in isolation because that's too much.
That's your space.
Yeah. I was like, well, so we're going to be here for 60 days staring at you? Well, we're going to have to set up some rules. It wasn't until I get called to administrative law judge's office. I was probably 3 years in on my sentence, and they informed me I had been under investigation for 6 months. And they said, because of crimes you committed in the last 6 months, we're going to extend your stay. And I told the judge, I was like, I don't even belong in prison. Why would you want to keep me here longer? Again, this is the kid from committing 2 armed robberies, right? But in my mind, I still believed I'm this, middle class kid.
So that's literally what you believed.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason I was in there is always somebody else's fault in my mind.
Okay.
It's coach's fault, mom's fault, dad's fault,
Okay.
everyone's fault, society's fault. And this judge looked at me and she goes, Mr. Robbins, we build prisons for people like you.
Mm.
And I didn't that hit me so hard because it was the first time I'm looking around. There's no one to blame. It's just me.
Mm.
And I was justifying the things that I was doing because I believed I deserved to be comfortable in this setting. At first, the things I was doing, I believed I needed to be safe. But by the time I was in my third year, it wasn't about safety anymore. It was like, hey, I need that guy's commissary. Hey, I need to, be able to control some situations around here. And so I walked out and just kind of had this inner dialogue of, do I really belong here? Am I ever going to get out?
Mm.
If I keep doing this, if I keep moving my date back, are they ever going to let me out? And it was the first time I really processed getting out. Because I would see people, if somebody's walking on the yard and they're talking about getting out, I would see it as weakness.
Really?
Yeah. And in the prisons I was in, you didn't let people know you had to release. Because if somebody finds out you're about to get out, you're going to lose all your commissary. You're going to be threatened. You're going to be because you have everything to lose and I have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Right.
For the first time, I was kind of processing it, okay, what would getting out look like? I've never been successful in my life. I went through 4 high schools in a year and a half. And I think I was still a sophomore. I don't even know. I don't even know if I ever completed freshman year. And so I just hadn't done anything well. And so I ended up joining a prison fellowship program that they transferred me to a different prison. And the only reason I signed up for the program is because they told me they transferred me to another prison. So then I would no longer be under investigation. Because when I walked in their office, they had pictures of everyone I associated with. They had a whole file on me. So
they're building a case. They had a case on you.
Yeah. They knew what I was doing and who was doing it with all these things. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I'm surprised you to walk in. You missed one right there.
Yeah. And so I was like, I got to get out of here. But everything changed when I went. I grew up in church. So
you knew the right things.
Yeah, Jeff, that's where I was on Wednesdays. That's where I was on Sundays. If there was a play at the church, we were in it. Not because I wanted to be, it's because I was told I was going to be. And if there was a new family that came to church, I knew they were going to be invited to my parents' house for lunch. And so I was going to feel uncomfortable all Sunday going, oh gosh, I don't know this person. What are we doing here? I was like, I can play the game in this program. And so I get there. And within the first couple of weeks, there was a few things that were very different. One of the first classes I went into, it was kind of we're in this orientation phase. And so we go to this first class and this guy's up front and he's, wearing nice clothes and he's but he's got some tattoos. So I'm like, this guy thinks he's tough. And I'm like, I don't know if this is a staffer or a volunteer. I don't know what his deal is. And he's like, all right, let's open the Bible. And I am still a mouthy idiot. And I'm like, why would we open this Bible? This is a holy book. There ain't nobody holy in here. What I didn't know was this guy was an inmate.
Yeah, okay.
And I did not know how many people he murdered. So this guy gets this close to me. And he goes, you know how many people were incarcerated in this book? I was like, what? I'm thinking of all the plays I've been in. I was like, I don't remember incarceration. And he goes, he's like, maybe you should shut your mouth and open it. I was like, fair. That's what I'll do. That's what I'm going to do right now.
And were you 145 at this point?
Yeah, probably. Right. Very tiny. I was like, okay, I should be quiet more. And so that was different. And we started reading the scripture. And they're pulling scripture to that actually pertains to our lives. And I'm going, what? I know I've read this whole thing. Right. What are we doing? What? How did I miss that?
Yeah.
And then we went to our first worship service. And now I grew up in a very small town with Baptists that you can do this if you're super holy. You raise your hand higher and people are going to start talking about you.
Right.
Like, Sarah, what's she doing over there? Like, she's one of those charismatics. And so I just seen guys, arms, I can't do it now because my shoulder's jacked up, but arms fully extended, tears, worshiping. And I'm going, this is different. This is not the Southern Baptist Church that I'm from that has like 40 people in attendance. Like, what is going on right now? And so I knew from reading scripture and that worshiping that I had no idea about Christianity. I had no idea about God. Like, I had no idea. And then the thing that impacted me the most was there's these volunteers. They go about, it's probably about 900 yards across from the receiving center to this double wide trailer where we have classes. So all the night classes at the PF Academy were taught by volunteers. And so these volunteers would come in, and I'd come out of the unit, I'd sit there and I'd be after dinner smoking a cigarette, and I'd watch them walking. And the closer they got, they could see you staring at them, and they'd start smiling and waving. And that used to drive me nuts. I'm like, what type of one? Why would you be happy you're here? This place is awful. Every one of us wants to leave. And so a couple of weeks of just kind of sitting back, watching people. I confronted this couple, Simon and Corrine from Pella, Iowa, retired farmer couple. I go, what are you doing here? And Corrine smiled, and she's like, we're here because we love you, Nick. I said, that's not true, because I haven't had the opportunity to earn your love. So in our world, love is transactional. Every relationship is, so what can I get from this relationship? And I go, you didn't know me before you walked through the door. What are you really here for? And she smiled. It was like one of those, gotcha. And she leaned in and she goes, Jesus Christ died for my sins, only knowing the worst thing about me before I was ever born, because he loved me so much. And I love you knowing the worst thing you ever did before I ever met you. I gave up my freedom to come into a prison and be a part of your life. And for the first time, I understood sacrificial love.
Yeah.
And it shattered me. Because rightfully so, I have pushed everybody away that has loved me because of my actions and things I was doing. And these people are going, hey, I knew you were worse. I loved you so much there. Like, I'm going to come and I'm going to give you some hope and cast a vision. And God softened my heart in that time and gave me the ability to understand scripture, not to read it, not to participate in the plays, not to, hopefully I'm really quiet in the pew so my mom would give a stick of big red gum because it was delicious if we were behaving.
Oh, I love that big red gum.
Yeah, so good. Out of your mom's purse, it's all crinkled.
Do they even have it anymore?
I don't know. And so to know that there was a depth in a personal relationship with Jesus Christ that can be pursued, it blew me away. And it changed like who I was to my core. And so as I'm experiencing it, I'm going, oh, this means something. So then I had the opportunity to do that with other people that were coming into the program. And I was still an idiot. Like, I actually got myself moved back to the other prison I was in and then had to come back again. Like, I'm still working on myself right now. And it's been like 20 years. But,
as we all are.
Yeah. But the idea that the power of the presence of a believer in somebody's life, you don't have to have all the answers. When you got Jesus inside you, that shines through when you're only used to relationships that are transactional. You're just like, this is so weird. This person just keeps giving and giving and giving and pouring into me and pouring into me and pouring into me, to where one of the days I started believing it myself.
You know, these podcasts we categorize in our heads. I don't know how to do this, because you've got corrections that you're doing.
Yeah.
You've got reentry. You have an inspirational story who's been transformed personally.
Yeah. You
articulated how a prison ministry impacts somebody behind bars.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful, beautiful story. And look what you're doing today. And I mean, you probably know this, but as I sit here listening to you, and I mean, if you're obviously watching this on the video, you can see what he looks like. But for those who are listening, first of all, you're not 135 pounds a day.
Yeah, right.
In fact, I know it because I was talking to you last night, and you're like, yeah, I got a hurt shoulder, I've been lifting weights. So you clearly, physically, you're much more of a presence. You've got a full beard.
Yeah.
If you understand what you are doing with this jail, and I'll speak into this, I can only imagine that you are having to obviously surrender, and God's moving, but you are probably not liked, I'm guessing, by a lot of people, if nothing else, just out of not understanding. So this image that I have of how you described yourself, 130 pounds, isolation, not open, you've got a hard heart. I mean, it's total transformation sitting here. And frankly, I see how God has redeemed those parts of you and is using it for his glory right now.
He opens doors for all of us. It's just, are we willing to walk through them? And I have a mentality that I have to get better every single day. And I think it's because I'll never forget the man I once was, and that, especially in this space, as a man of God, like, we got to get better. We got to do better. So yeah, I'm able to humbly walk into rooms and demand contracts and access, but do it with a pure motive of, like, we can change some lives. Like, we can get the outcome that our communities deserve, our state deserves, the individuals deserve. And yeah, a lot of people don't care for me, especially because they see we get more opportunities than most is in our space. And most people would rather just slander you instead of do the work that you did to get where you are. Going, you've been in the field for 19 years. Look at how he slowly moved up and the experience he got, and then built the trust, and then sat on this board and built a relationship with this. Like, they don't want to know what it took to get where we are, to have the access that we have. Because it's unique. It's unique that people can be sentenced to us instead of going to prison, that we can be a part of their lives. It's unique. Like, we literally, that's changing the way corrections works. And it's unique to be able to open a jail up. That's a lot of access that other people are going, well, we want to do that. But I would say, and this is probably not a good thing, but it's a reality in my world, I have such a negative self-talk that so when I go into government meetings, county meetings, stuff like that, and people, the majority are always like, we love what you're doing. But then there's the ones that are slandering you because they're hoping to get the contract you got, and the horrible things they say, and they just lie about stuff. And I'm standing up there and I'm like, okay. And then people will watch online, staff or whomever, they'll text like, are you good? I was like, oh, I said worse about myself like 1,000 times today. Like, that's not going to hurt my feelings. They should hear what I'm saying about me. And so, just having that willingness of going like, hey, I'm going to prove somebody wrong. A lot of the things that we probably struggled with as a kid that was a problem, when we become an adult and we can kind of turn that on its head and go, hey, I actually think this could be a strength, could be our superpower, because I'm somebody that if somebody tells me I can't do it, I'll be like, oh, it's about to happen.
Right.
Like, so I was blessed. So we met because of Karen Swanson.
Yeah.
And I was blessed to be a Colson Scholar and go through some courses on reentry leadership. I didn't want to do the courses because I'm not an educated person. And I struggle with reading and writing. And when I was doing it, there was no Chat GPT. And so I remember somebody had told me, like, is when I was still working for Prison Fellowship. Oh, I ended up working for Prison Fellowship. Sorry. And so when I got out, and they said, hey, you need to look into this, because you got the experience, but you really need to be educated on this field. Like, you can't just lean on, I've been there.
Right.
And it was so true. And I was like, I don't really think I want to do that. And they're like, I think it's important that you do. And so I reached out. You have to like write like essays and stuff and like send it and like try to convince Karen to let you do it. And then there's like a board. She called me, and I had never met her before. She goes, I just don't think you're going to be able to keep up. Like, you're just not at the level that would be necessary. And so I was like, oh, thank goodness. That really, I didn't want to do it in the first place. Now I can tell the people that are pressuring me, I wasn't able to do it. So I hung up. I processed it. I called her back. I was like, oh, I'm doing it. Like, what do I need to do? So I was like, well, okay. So I went to my church, and my church paid a college professor to tutor me every single week during the time I was in there, and like all these things. And I was just so stubborn. I was like, tell me I can't open the jail. Tell me we're gonna have this jail open. So that's always been my mindset. And so, even the things that we struggle with could end up being used for good, and stubbornness is a big piece of that. And not worrying about what other people are thinking. Yeah. Because when everything that you're doing is because you're doing it because, one, you were called to do it by God, but then two, you're doing it for the individuals you serve. It doesn't really matter what outlook other people have. It's going like, hey, this is not how we do it, or this is not how we would do it. Like, this is how I'm doing it. Until God says you can't do it anymore, right. I'm going to keep doing it. And we're not going to worry about what other people are talking about. And we have the outcomes that have been tremendous. And so that's all that matters, is life changed.
I want to be sensitive of the time here. Yeah. So I've got one last, I've got a question, and if you can answer it, or just anything you want to share. But the question I have is, so what are you dreaming about these days?
So there's a lot of opportunities. Always. There's more opportunities than there are resources. I mean, we've been offered like take over people's facilities, and we have the ability to potentially take over a closed prison. That would expand tremendously.
Would you want to do that if
the resources were available? Absolutely would. Okay. It would give us the ability to expand the amount of people we serve, have a women's component program, also even look at a regional model, which I think in my heart of hearts is the best approach, because I'm not doing this to where I can expand and do it all over the state or the country, or where, like, that's not the type of dreamer I am. I want to be able to wrap my arms around the clients I serve. Mm-hmm. And so I can't do it if they're everywhere. But to be able to educate and come alongside other nonprofits that want to do that, I think we're kind of in that space right now, that we're having people come check it out and try to understand, what it would look like and how they could pull it off. So that's kind of where we're at, is if the resources were unlimited, we'd do more of what we're doing. But also, I'm not trying to take over the world, because I am the kid that stole $1,700 and served 7.5 years in prison. So I know that everything can fall apart at any moment. Mm-hmm. And so I don't ever want to get beyond God, because he will yank me down so quick. Like, I felt it. I've seen it. I know what that looks like. So somebody told me this one day. He said, actively wait on God. So keep moving forward, but keep an eye on where he's at. And if you can't see him, you better turn around real quick. And so that's just kind of where we are.
This was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I knew you before, but even just to hear some of the stuff in a different light. So thanks for your vulnerability. We'll be cheering for you. And one of these days I'm going to come out and actually see it in person.
Yeah.
What you're doing. Awesome. So, all right. Thank you.
Appreciate you.